Seeking the Wise Wise,
with Aaron and Alexander discussing the Just philosophy.
covering self-development, emotional processing, conscious relationships, and 5 levels of overall wellness. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wise Wise. Alexander here with my wonderful partner, Aaron Keith.
Aloha. Alexander is currently
Yeah.
in the what kind of state? What's the nickname for it?
Yeah, Kona,
The sunny
Hawaii,
state?
the Big Island.
The Big Island state. And there you go.
Yeah, Big Island state. Yeah, and here visiting my sons, and the weather is just incredible. We just had a powerful full moon, and it's been glowing the skies here for the last few nights. So feeling very blessed. Glad to connect and share some wisdom with everyone from the islands.
You haven't ran away from too much hot here. It's been pretty cool for the last couple days at least where I am in Tennessee. But now I think God or Source or the universe has turned the dial a little back up. So you know, where summer's not gone yet. And I'm a big fan of summer. So, but I think I'm appreciating fall a little more because I have in my new house, I have such a cool outside area, but it's just been so hot. I just can't enjoy it in the middle of the summer. So I'm really looking forward to it cooling down just a little bit so I can enjoy that.
Yeah, it's been wonderful here because we've been getting up around 6 and starting our 5 levels workout around 6:30, and then being at the beach and in the water by 7:15 a.m. and doing vocal toning, creative exercises, vulnerability exercises for emotional release, and we've had a great time being together and being incentivized by each other, and so it's been a great week so far, and we've got a few weeks left. So looking forward to keeping up these practices, and today we're looking forward to talking about resistance training from the perspective of the Just philosophy and our 5 levels of wellness. And this is something that we actually discussed this morning on the beach with my little tribe, and the importance of why we do what's hard. There's a saying in this philosophy of, if it's challenging for you to do, it's probably good for you. And I just wanted to bring an opportunity to explain some of these perceptions and maybe answer some questions that Aaron and our listeners have around this type of view of strengthening ourselves and what wellness really means on all 5 levels and how we do get stronger at it.
So I think what we're kind of talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong, is we're being proactive in our self-development work. Like, we're not just sitting and taking it as it comes, because then you're not really developing the processes and tools and techniques to be prepared for when it comes. We're actually talking about, like we would in the gym if we wanted a better body or if we wanted to lift heavy things. You can't just wait until heavy things arrive to then learn how to lift heavy things.
Well said.
So it's kind of like a similar, metaphorically to that, right?
Yes, and taking that into the 5 levels of the spiritual/religious, the mental, the emotional, the energetic, and into the physical, and why doing resistance training, is helpful. And sometimes when people hear the term resistance training, I think they can go to an extreme, and that's why we wanted to redefine it here, because working out and exercising isn't just to get the body that you want. As you were saying, part of that is strength. And so you're preparing for down the road that as you get older, that you're going to need to rely on strength more from a physical standpoint. And from my perspective and the Just philosophy perspective, that's the case with all 5 levels, is that all 5 of these levels really need to be being exercised in a proactive way to strengthen them. Or what happens is the same as in the physical for the people that don't watch what they eat, they don't exercise, and then they wonder why they get diseases or illnesses and those types of things. And it's very similar if people don't exercise their spiritual or religious level or their energetic level or the mental level in a so-called useful or positive way. See, all of those levels can all get out of alignment, so to say, or get lazy, or parts of them can. So there's many people that focus on just one or two of these levels. And so somebody may work out a lot, but maybe they don't nourish their mental and emotional levels, as much. So this is really just bringing this up for people to look at within themselves, to not to go into judgment, but just assessment of where do I actually practice spiritually or religiously, or where do I practice energetically and mentally? And see, most people may not even be aware that these levels exist. So again, that's why we have this podcast and we're sharing with everybody.
Yeah, and it really is bringing in like the intentional living part of this practice. And the 5 levels of wellness practice that you're talking about is something that we kind of brought in maybe a year or two ago, and we actually made like a worksheet to help steer people to pull the ideas and the intentionalness out onto a piece of paper so they could create their own structure. And then we got some feedback, and we kind of have been tinkering with it. And so you guys have been practicing it there since you've been there, and maybe you can tell us about a little bit about what that process is. What does that mean to work on all 5 levels, and why are you doing it? Like, what is there to gain? I know we're kind of talking about that now, but like, what does that look like, I guess?
Well, okay, so let's go through just an example of a day. So it is getting up at whatever time. Here we were getting up, or I was getting up about between 5:30 and 6. And like I said, I love the sunrise because the night going into day is so beautiful with the moon is the focal point on the side of the island that we're on. And then as the sun comes up, it kind of fades out. So just getting up at that time of the day, getting together in the main house at 6:30, and we've had 5 or 6 of us working out together every morning, but everybody's doing their own thing. So it's not regimented in any way. But we do it for about 30 minutes, and again, the goal is somewhere around 20 minutes for each level. So as soon as we work out, I like to go ahead and walk to the beach. It's about a 10-minute walk. And the rest of the group comes down a little bit later in a car to drive us back. And it takes about 10 minutes to walk to the beach. And so as soon as I get to the beach, get in the water, and that cleansing feeling of that brisk water right after working out is just is truly amazing. This could be done with a shower, very similar. But we get in the water, and then after about just 15 minutes of just soaking and being in gratitude, it's much easier to kind of find that gratitude in that kind of environment. But again, it just takes effort wherever you are. And then we come together in the water and do about 15 to 20 minutes of vocal toning. We've done different types of just a low ooh sound. We've done ooh, ah, om. And that om 3-syllable toning exercise connects the root, the heart, and the crown. And so we've played around with different types of toning, and everyone seems to enjoy it. So of course, the working out is the physical, and then we get to the vocal toning, and that's like the energetic. And we kind of have already gone through the spiritual or religious level of practicing gratitude that I mentioned, just being so grateful to have this experience. And then after the toning, we just meditate in the water for anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, I would say. And then most of us go in silence and go just stand in the sun for a little while. And that, of course, helps all the levels. And then we go set up on the beach. close together. And one of the spiritual or religious exercises that we've done is to write down things that you're grateful for and share them. And then the other great practice is in judgment. So to share something that we've either judged in ourselves or someone else, and the process of how we chose to see that differently and basically change that vibration. So again, even in the discussion of that, it's bringing in the energetic level once again. And so then what we did one morning is for the mental level, meditation is part of the mental level as well. But also what we did is creative writing, to where we wrote for 3 minutes, all of us, any type of poetry or story. And then after 3 minutes, we pass it to the person to our left. And we do that. If it's 5 of us, we did that 5 times, and that takes about 15 minutes. And it's just a creative writing exercise that everybody really enjoyed. We did it with drawing as well for 3 minutes. And so those are some of the examples of those first 4. And then the emotional level is when we get into sharing like those judgments, and they may be about ourselves or about somebody else. Many times there will be an emotional release that comes with that. So that emotional release is what we're looking for that emotional level. And you can either have that through releasing something so-called negative, or accessing it through like gratitude. And I just gave a speech yesterday at a Rotary Club that I was invited to do here in Kona. And it was just so well received. And I was talking about the 5 levels of wellness. And this morning in my gratitude practice, I just wept in appreciation for being so well received by people that had absolutely no idea of the subject matter or myself. And, and it's come a long way in the last 15 to 18 years of how open people are to alternative methods of wellness. So that was my emotional release, was just that deepest gratitude of how well that I was received and how well that the talk went over. And of course being received from the tribe here, the group, and everybody doing this practice together. So that's a small example of just one morning. And, and we change things in each category each morning. So it's been very fun and invigorating to do with the group.
And so how does that set up your day if you're doing it in the morning? And of course, you don't have to do it in the morning. We're really talking about just exercising or doing something that feeds each one of those levels at some point during the day, right?
Yes. And that's the main thing, is carrying that intention. See, just thinking about, hey, what can I do to help my subtle energy today? And that may be that you don't engage with a certain person throughout your day because you don't want to get in their bad vibes or something. And then on another day that you're very strong and well rested and well fed, you go, you know what, I'm going to spend some extra time around that person that normally kind of puts off a bad vibe. And once again, strengthen and see how long I can stay in that energy field without being affected negatively. And the idea is that over time, over long periods of time, you introduce yourself back to that person or that situation, and you try to stay a little bit longer before it affects you. And you just keep going and removing yourself as soon as you start to get bothered or aggravated. All of this is from our saying of gradual changes over long periods of time equals lasting results. And we are habitual creatures. So whatever you do consistently is what you're going to build. If that's getting up every morning and going and drinking a cup of coffee, I'm not judging coffee drinkers. I drink coffee from time to time. But see, that creates a habit. And then it can create that, I can't do anything else in my day until I have this. And that's what I hope to inspire people for the 5 levels practice of, I don't want to start my day until I've done what's most important to me. And that is touch on all 5 levels of my being. And then moving forward through my day, everything else is a bonus. So again, it doesn't have to start out at 20 minutes for each level, because that's 100 minutes. That's a little over an hour and a half. And for some people, that's just not realistic. So I like to say, then try 3 minutes per, and that's only 15 minutes technically. And I feel like most people of our listeners can't afford 15 minutes in their day. And again, you do that for 100 days or 3 weeks, it creates a pattern. 3 months, it creates a lifestyle. And in 100 days, you'll be able to see results more than likely on all 5 levels.
So when we talk about the 5 levels of wellness, for those of you who might be new, so we have the spiritual, mental, emotional, energetic, and the physical. And this practice that you're talking about, in my head, visually, I see it as kind of like making sure each one of those levels is filled. Like if it was a glass, you're filling it up to the top to prepare for the day. Now, in this episode, we're talking about resistance training. Would resistance training mean that like we're almost growing our glass so that we can fill it up more, so that we have more of a buffer between being well fed, well rested, and being depleted?
I mean, that's a great question, and it may be up to personal interpretation, but a big part of it is just seeing that the realistic nature of age can deteriorate all of these levels. So I'm not necessarily seeing the glass grow, but I am seeing that it gets harder and harder over time to maintain an optimal level. So I think it's more of that, just from my personal viewpoint, is that, yeah, we're doing whatever we can do to keep our glass full. And that means that it is divided into 5 sections. And if I avoid any one or multiple of these sections, then my glass is going to be very depleted. And as you were bringing up earlier, one of the main points for this is so that when something, an obstacle really happens in your life, you're prepared with how to deal with that obstacle. And so it's not living in fear. There's a big difference from living in fear and preparing for life. And that's where practicing this emotional release, to get emotions you've been carrying around throughout your whole life out. And then you emotionally challenge yourself to be around people or situations that are challenging. And the exercise is to not let it bother you, to work to stay in neutrality no matter the external circumstance. And then again, as soon as it starts to bother you, remove yourself from the situation, and then have a goal next time that you go in that direction to stay maybe 15 minutes longer than you did the previous time. And then it turns into an hour longer, and then it turns into multiple hours longer. So, because again, when you're doing this type of work, you're not just dealing with the person that you're doing the exercise with. This is helping you with anybody in the world that you come in contact with. So I think that's another big key, is not personalizing this work, that I'm just going to be around this person. They're challenging because they're in my family, and I just need to learn to be around them. That's a very narrow way to look at it. That no, this person is a great challenge for me. They're a great teacher for me, and they will help me moving forward in my life with anyone similar. And see, that's a big difference to trying to just deal with somebody and accept them the best you can. And I feel like that's the way many people approach so-called challenging people, rather than seeing them as a true teacher to help with anyone similar moving throughout the rest of their life.
Yeah, it's almost like they're like 40% of the way there, like just by saying, oh, well, that's just how they are. But yeah, you're not getting to the respect phase of that process.
Right. Well said.
So I guess instead of like stretching the glass, I guess the whole point of doing all this is so our glass never starts draining. Because if the water or the liquid in the glass is our energy on all those levels, we're trying to build up our tolerance. So it takes a lot more to affect the amount of energy that we have in our glasses.
Yes. This has been a wonderful introduction to this subject, and I appreciate everybody for following us down this rabbit hole, so to say, because it is a fairly new concept in sharing through this podcast, but it's been a big backbone part of this philosophy, really from the beginning. So there is something to gain by doing the things that are challenging in life. but you don't have to live in that challenge constantly. We're talking about consciously choosing to do this to prepare for when we don't have as much choice as we think we do. And so I thank everybody for reaching out, for connecting with us, and please follow us in the complete conversation.
Thank you for listening to this free version of the Wise podcast. To hear the complete conversation and go deeper into the application of the tools and techniques of the Just Philosophy, head on over to wisewisepodcast.com and become a premium member. You'll get to hear all of our complete conversations, including the complete episodes of our Inward Journey story series and our entire back catalog, and continue your self-development journey with us. We honor your dedication to self-growth, overall wellness, and continuing to ask the wise.
And remember, gradual changes over long periods of time equals lasting results.
Continue on your self-growth journey by visiting thejustphilosophy.com, where you are able to connect personally by booking a private consultation with Alexander in person, by phone, or Zoom. Uncover your authentic self more easily with a human design or destiny card consultation. Here you will gain information about your energetic makeup, personality, and your higher self, as well as navigating your way through your relationships. There are also multiple types of reports available for purchase that help you gain insight into your career, relationships, and opportunities for self-growth. The site also allows you to view a calendar of Alexander's live performances and class schedule, peruse other products such as shirts, CDs, and finally, the revolutionary VibroTune vibrational sound therapy tables. These contoured therapy tables allow you to bathe in a vibrational sonic bath of frequencies, bringing you into alignment on all levels. You will be feeling and hearing calming music synced through vibration and frequency. So again, you can grab all this goodness at thejustphilosophy.com, thejustphilosophy.com. The Just Philosophy, as discussed in this podcast, has been developed by Alexander over the last 25 years in his personal studies, private practice, and professional environment. The information discussed is intended for educational purposes only and is not meant as a replacement for conventional medicine. Just remember, knowledge plus experience equals wisdom. Seek the wise. We want to thank you for working on you. Keep shining your light and refining your vibe.